Perfect. Kelly is here. Hi, Kelly. You guys, when you come in, make sure you say hi. Let me know you're here. That way we can get this show on the road. So, nice. See, you're ahead of the game, man. You're ahead of the game. All right. So, welcome again, everybody, to another episode of The Social Hour. Today, my guest is a photographer and Photoshop artist extraordinaire. Her photos are out of this world, literally. Her combination of practical props and digital effects creates some of the most uniquely stylized and memorable creative portraiture and conceptual children's photography you've ever seen. Gilmar has been featured in some of the most popular photography publications and on various photography podcasts and YouTube channels, including Nikon's Creators Hour, SmugMug Live, KelbyOne, Tether Talk, and has landed on the cover of Adobe's Lightroom magazine, and many others. She's also an incredibly skilled tutorial and review writer for Photoshop User magazine. If you're lucky, you might even get the chance to see Gilmar work her magic live at events like Photoshop World or the Photography Show. Trust me, if you get a chance, absolutely take it, because she's going to take your photos to new heights and unlock creativity you didn't even know was possible. Truly, the most magical combination of fantasy meets reality. I am so pleased to be able to introduce Gilmar Smith.
Oh my God, that was like, who's that girl?
I know, she sounds pretty cool, right?
I want to meet her.
Right. I love that. So my newest partner with the interview show, Kristen, wrote that bio. I was like, make sure. She killed it. So
that was so nice. Thank you.
Yes,
I'm so happy to be here tonight.
Me too. I'm super glad to have you. Kelly Robitaille is here with us. Jay Coy is here with us. Yay! And Kelly said, and the crowd goes wild. Yes.
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah. So we got to meet in person briefly during PPE one year. And then I've just been like stalking you ever since, you know, like following all of your good stuff. And I would love to know how you got into photography in the first place, and then how you started to find this really like creative, fun, over the top, unique style that defines your work.
Okay, are you ready for this roller coaster?
Yep,
because
let's
an
go.
Emotional one, but I'm gonna try to do it fast, and I'm gonna try just to make it all happy. But I started photography back at the end of 2011 or at the beginning of 2012. I was going through a divorce. I never got a camera, and I never really intended to be a photographer, but my ex-husband got this camera and he never used it. And I started taking pictures of my son, and I wanted to do something different. I just didn't want to take a picture and that's it. So my son at the time was just diagnosed with autism. So obviously he didn't want me to be close to him with the camera. So the whole passion began when, with the challenge of him not letting me take his pictures. So I had to be a little bit more creative. So what I started doing with him was making up stories, like with costumes and props, and what if we do this, and make a sketch and whatever. So with the story, since we created a story and a sketch, then I will put the costume on him, and we will keep playing, and then I was able to take the picture. So it became like kind of our theme, and like a kind of a introduction to his world, because he was opening the doors to me just to his imagination, and to do something a little bit more creative. So obviously after that, and I think that it happens to most of us photographers, we just start doing one thing and then, oh, look, macro, oh, landscape, oh, let me, So I went all over the place. And actually my first job as a photographer was with a race car team in a Formula One racetrack when Formula One came back to the United States. So
That's so
it was
crazy.
unreal, but it was like my first paid job, and I worked with the team for a little while. But after a while with them, it was just people what I wanted to do. But I do a little bit of everything, but really my passion is the children's conceptual photography because it's really close to my heart, and I started it with my son, and now I keep going with my daughter, and it's something that is magical, and it's like, you know, the story of our lives and our adventures. And I think that is a beautiful way to keep the sense of wonder and the sense of imagination and you know, childhood in just a picture. And you know, now that I've done it with my son and with my daughter, is pretty much what people hire me for.
Right. I love that. I love the fact, and I know we've heard from so many parents that they kind of started their photography journey in some way due to their children, but seeing you be able to use that as a way to communicate with your little boy and enter his world and have that space for you guys is really super beautiful. I love that story. So you must have had some kind of, like, that kind of creative mind does not just happen, right? Like usually you've got something going on in your past. Like, did you always love art, or where did that come from? That ability to just to let
I
your
think
imagination go crazy like that.
I always say that we all have it, but we lose it as we grow up. Growing up with my grandmothers, I used to paint, I used to do sculptures, and you know, I used to. So I used to do pretty much everything growing up because I was always with both of my grandmothers, and they were really artistic. But to me, I think that it was more an emotional outlet because I was going through a very difficult time with my divorce. And then my son diagnosis that as a mother is a really confusing time. So I put all of my energy, and it was like my escape, and it still is my escape from the real world. And, you know, and I think that now we live in a bubble, and it's, and I call it my magical bubble because pretty much we take pictures and we go to Disney every day. So we have a really unrealistic life. I don't watch the news. You just try to keep everything happy. So and I think that has a lot to do with whatever you do in life. You know, if you live in a somber life, and if you're depressed, I think that reflects on the work that you do or whatever, or if you are into fantasy, or if you are into, you know. So I think that what who you are and what you like and the environment you are in is, it really has a lot to do with your personal style in photography or whatever kind of art that you do.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. I think if you do this long enough, you kind of can't help but show what's on the inside.
Yeah, even if you don't want to, yes. And you
Yeah.
know, and to me, I have gone through a lot of things in life because then I was engaged with my daughter's dad, and he passed away when my daughter was just only 1 year old. So I was extremely, I have been through really, really hardcore depression, but still I have my two kids with me that have always been my light. So when he passed away was the time when I decided that I was gonna, my crazy decision to become a photographer full time. And I created some work at the beginning of my grief that it was really depressing and sad and really portray what I was going through. But then I started doing funny portraits and color, and I started using colors and all of that. And I remember whenever I created the work that I was expressing my grief, I will cry, and it would be hard, and even posted it online was super hard. Like I just wanted to pull it out because it was like so personal. But then I started creating like my kind of work that is probably oversaturated and it's probably too bright and it's, it is who I am, And I realized that whenever I was creating it from the planning of the beginning through the end, editing and posting it, it made a switch on however I was feeling. It made me joyful, it made me laugh, it made me, feel alive again. So I decided to stick with that because I wasn't not only just getting a positive reaction, or I was just feeling better with myself whenever I did that, but it had an impact on the people that was looking at the work that I was doing, because they were laughing, they were just, it was like a different kind of impact to everybody, to me and to my audience. So I stuck to it. And even when I feel sad, and even when I feel stressed out, overwhelmed, depressed, or whatever, I try to create something that evokes happiness and joy, because it really make me feel a lot better, and it really changes the way that I see the world. So I think, I mean, it might work for me, it might not work for everybody, but to me, it's just magical.
That is really amazing that I know oftentimes a lot of us will use art as a form of catharsis, but you actually are also using art as a way to help yourself be what you want to be.
Yeah, and I think that is been like my family and my closest friends, and it was a crazy decision back in 2016, and to me it was a very personal one, because it was such a difficult time in my life, that when you lose everything, because I lost absolutely everything, and I had to sell everything, had nothing. So it was like, do I go out and I work, just a job, and be miserable and miss my kids' life, because we don't have anybody in this country. My family is not here. I don't have like, a support network. So I was like, do I do that and miss everything in their life, and I'm miserable? Or do I go crazy and jump and do whatever I want to do and redesign my life the way that I want to? And I was like, it's all of or nothing. And I remember just sitting down and saying, I'm going to give myself a year. And if it doesn't work, I have to support my kids, but I'm going to give myself a year. And in that year, I did, with my depression and everything, I did everything I could. And I started working for Photoshop User Magazine, and I started getting work, and I started, doing so many things. And a year passed by, and I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I was getting so close, and I was feeling happy, and I found so much joy just doing whatever I was doing, and I was sharing it with my kids, which I think that is fantastic, because I see the way that they enjoy, and every concept that you see on my pictures is not something that I came up with. It's something that came out, from their imagination, and I made it, something that you can touch, and their pausing and everything is so. What I want to say is that I have done it, and I have been able to design my life and be who I am, with dignity, and with my kids holding my hand and building so much together, and at the same time showing them that whatever that you want to do, you can do it. Probably they're not going to realize it right now, but they're going to be on an age one day that they're going to see what we went through, and see how magical I was able to make their life, and how we created all of this from our living room or from our garage. And I think that is more valuable than me going from 9 to 5, making a lot of money, because I'm present in their life. And I think that whatever I do, and I love my job, and I love everything, and but it's just it's just me being me with my kids, being a mom, and that's part of my job and my everyday life. And whoever we are as a family, we were able just to build a business without really knowing it, because we just went crazy, and I had this crazy idea to be capable of doing it all at the same time.
I'm like, there's so much there that is so powerful and so inspiring. And I feel like there's so many things that I want to know and questions that I could ask. But first, I just want to say that that's absolutely beautiful. And I want to commend you, because there are so many people who something like that would knock them flat and they would not get back up again. And to be able to see your strength and resilience and that determination just to go forward, and nothing was going to stop you. And that's just absolutely beautiful and inspiring. So thank you for sharing that, which is echoed by a lot of the people in our comments section. Jay said, I need to hug you so hard. David said, okay, who's chopping onions? Hannah said, having several nephews with autism, your ability to achieve connection with your son through art is so inspiring. Dennis said, it's such a wonderful idea. Sarah said, you're an inspiration. So everybody is definitely feeling something from hearing about your journey.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be flat honest here. It's not easy, and it's overwhelming. But and I think that what did it to me was the fact of not having anything else to lose, and I think that completely changed everything. When you lose absolutely everything in your life, you just get this bravery, because like, what are you gonna do now? And I remember that it was a crazy year, and I know that probably some of my friends are watching this, and we had a car accident. I mean, everything that you can imagine that can happen in a year happened to me in 2016. And everything every time that something happened, I was like, fuck you. I'm not gonna. Yes. And I kept going and I kept going. And the thing is that my life, I love my family, but I didn't have like the support or the childhood that I think that I deserved. So somehow I have so many vivid memories that I wish my kids never had to go through, or I wish that my kids never felt the way that I sometimes felt. So to me, it was like what gave me the strength to do everything that I did and to accomplish everything that I have accomplished, that sometimes I have just to get a slap in the face and sit in the sofa and take myself back to that year and see, wow, I'm living the life that back then I wished and I thought that I could never live. And here I am, just, exactly like the list that I made of all the things that I wanted to accomplish, I have. So it's magical, but you have to, keep yourself inspired. That sometimes is super hard, and you have to have your accountability, and you have to have somebody like my brother that lives in the UK and just slap me in the face. What the fuck are you talking? Look, look where you are. So yeah, but I mean, and right now with the whole COVID, just homeschooling and doing everything at the same time, we just came back home last night. We record here in my house with the KelbyOne team. Then I have like 2 days to work on some other projects that I had. Then I had to go to Tampa for 2 or 3 days. We were there from Tuesday to Thursday. Then I had a friend that had planned, one of my best friends that I never see, coming for a staycation and then coming home, and then it's a lot, and it's a lot to balance, but still it's magical because I have to pinch myself because I'm honestly living what I thought back then that it was like a dream that I could never ever, and nobody ever thought that I was going to be able to accomplish.
So crazy. There's so many questions that I want to ask. I want to start, before we move on, I want to start with, do you think, and it seems like there's this strange balance between, of course, we don't want to suffer and we don't want other people to suffer, but it definitely seems as if those hardships are strangely necessary, or some kind of, maybe not the hardships themselves, but like, do you feel like we have to have some kind of driving or motivating force that pushes us past our boundaries or our limits, or what we think we could accomplish?
I think if you tell me to change anything in my life or to keep any of those things from happening, of course, I will love my daughter to still have a dad and all of that. But I'm not half of the person the idiot that I was many years ago, you know? And if you're able, my light die.
Oh,
My super cool
we
disco
lost
light.
the
I told you that I
color.
didn't charge it completely. Um, so that's the good thing about it. It's just like, okay, I wish I wasn't an idiot. And I think that if I watch this show in 2 or 3 years, probably I'm gonna think that I'm an idiot right now. And I think that is good because that will only mean that I'm growing. The thing is, and what I share my story, because sometimes people tell me that I'm sharing too much, or, it's just like, just don't wait for all of this to happen. It's just, life is so magical. It doesn't matter what kind of religion or whatever you live in. You're powerful enough to build whatever you are. I mean, you grow in a society that tells you that you have to go to college for how many years and then be in debt for for the rest of your life, just to find a job that is gonna make you miserable. Why? Um, I'm really, really, really picky on whatever I do, whatever company I work with, whatever project I work with, where I put my time, because I know that what is valuable, and because I've lost somebody that I really loved. And I know that, life is unpredictable. So why will I give my time away or my energy away on something that is just not gonna make me happy?
That's
So
such a good point.
I'm 100%, and as I told you, my kids and I live in a happiness bubble. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. If you want to judge the way, I mean, to me, I'm building my life, the life that I want to live, in the childhood that my kids, that I want my kids to have. Is it perfect or not? But it's mine. It's 100%
Yes.
mine, and every freaking decision and every single thing that we do, nobody tells us to do it. It's my decision and it's their decision. And everybody can do that. So as soon as you realize that everything in your life is in your hands, it's just magical.
Yes.
It's up to you.
Yes.
And actually, you have to remind yourself that every day, because I have to remind myself that every day, because sometimes I forget and I get grumpy. But but it is like that.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. Even when even when you learn the lesson the hard way, it's not like it
Yeah.
just sticks and then never leaves again. You
Yeah, you have to
still,
keep yourself accountable with every single thing that you do in your life, in your goals, and everything that you do in your life. I love writing. I have my Evernote app, and I have like all kind of lists, and and everything that I do, and whatever I feel something that I don't want to feel, I write it down, and I'm thankful I do, because I go back to it and I was like, well, look how you were feeling, how stupid you were, because look, everything worked out. So I think that is, and I still keep everything that I wrote through my grief, because as I told you, sometimes I forget where I was and everything that I have accomplished. So to me, it's great just to sit there and read. And I was like, wow, wow,
Yeah.
you know? So it gives me a lot of sense of pride. And sometimes I don't feel like I'm a good mom enough, or I'm not a good enough photographer, I'm not a good enough for at certain things. But going back to those personal, very raw things that I wrote on my app, it just makes me feel like, wow, look where you are now. So
Yeah.
I think that is, and I always tell my friends and everybody, just do it, because if you don't do it, you lose perspective of where you're going.
Yeah. I keep saying there's so much there, but that's because I feel like you're throwing out so much great wisdom right now. I'm like grabbing bits and pieces and trying to process it. But like, first, just this idea of, a lot of people, when they keep a journal or something like that, it's usually they're writing down, innermost thoughts. And there's not always like a process to it, but it's really interesting that you're using that as a way to, is it kind of like setting road markers for yourself almost?
Well, I write everything that comes out of my head. Like, and sometimes I don't even write and I just talk,
Yeah.
and just and whatever is easier for me. But I think, and I have found that it helps me so much, because I am able to make lists. I'm able to talk why am I pissed off, or somebody shot, somebody or a company or whatever who I wanted to talk to, and I reach out and throw their door on my nose. And then a few months after, I'm just working for them. So just look. So thankfully I wrote about it. So I think that we need, and it's something else, and as being Latin, and growing up in with so many traditions, it's just like talking too much about those things. I, I wasn't supposed to do that or whatever. So I try to be as raw as I can, because I know that everything changes, and I know that I get to understand myself a lot better when I allow myself to feel everything. And there was a time in my life that I used to have like really bad panic attacks. I even had one in Photoshop where, and some people know that I had it. I did the best show ever, and I put together the best I do this shooting base where everybody goes, and I design the whole thing, and I pull it off, and everything went amazing. I go to my room, and I think that it was all the stress building up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I talk about it, and people tell me, don't say those things. And I was like, well, so many people have panic attacks, and
Yeah.
and it's anxiety, and it's all of that. So and that usually happens when you keep holding and holding and don't allow yourself to feel. So now with those writing, I allow myself to say everything and to feel everything. And if I feel angry, I allow to feel myself every single thing that I can feel. And it completely changed everything, because I don't get those panic attacks anymore.
Yeah.
Because whenever I start feel anxiety, I just sit and I say like, okay, bitch, what's going on right now?
No, that's
Where is this
amazing.
coming from? So
Yeah.
I think that is pretty useful for people like me, just to be accountable with everything that we feel. And probably through doing all the writing, or to recording yourself talking about
Right.
how you feel, you can find what is triggering it, that probably you don't realize a situation or an emotion or whatever, just what is triggering this feeling. And to me it's just like I want to find the reason of everything and I want to
Yeah.
over analyze absolutely everything in my life. So I just keep a little, note of everything that is happening in my life, so I can go back to it and analyze my feelings, my emotions, my accomplishments,
Yeah.
my failures, and even with my kids, whatever they're doing, whatever.
Hmm.
So it's it works for me, and if whoever is listening to me and wants to try it, and I hope it works for them too.
Yeah. No, I've been keeping a journal since I was 13. So I have them all. They're just here in places.
Yeah.
But I have absolutely felt the same thing. There are times when I look back at things that I've written and realize, wow, you were a very anxious 13-year-old. Like you worried about everything. Holy moly. And then definitely times when I need that as some form of relief or catharsis or a way to just get without. I have people in my life that I know I can go to and vent or complain or whatever, but also when I do that, I realize that I'm putting a burden on them as well, because
Mhm.
now they have all of my issues to deal with too.
Yeah.
And so it definitely gives me that place to be able to process that stuff and kind of get it out without adding additional burden to other people,
Yeah.
but also being forced to say or write what you're thinking really makes you take the
Raw.
time
It
to,
has to be like
yeah,
really raw without just,
yeah.
you know. And another thing is that whenever I do that and it's work related or something, and it's something else not happening or whatever, I feel stuck, or this project that I wanted to do, the people that I was going to do it, they back off or whatever. I write or I record all of that of me talking, and then after a while I revisit it, and then I can analyze what I was going on through that time or whatever, and then I was like, well, it didn't happen because this and this and this. So let's try to knock the door again on a different way.
Oh, I
So
lost your volume there for just a sec.
oh,
There we go.
back. Okay.
Yes.
So what I was saying is like, let's try to knock at that door with a different perspective, or change things a little bit. So it helps me analyze everything, because I love analyzing everything and pretty much over analyze myself. Just,
It's a struggle
yeah.
I have as well.
Yeah.
So Pro EDU tutorials is here. They said, Gilmar for Prez.
Yay!
Oh, yes. And then, so yeah, they want to know what your favorite Jaeger is.
Oh no. I remember that with a blur.
Um, so we do have a question, which I'll get to real quick, but my mom is actually here. Hi, Mama. And she
Ah,
said, this really touched my heart, and you never know who you're helping by telling your story.
ah, that's so nice. That's so nice. Thank you, Mama.
Yes. Hannah says, what is going to be your new dream future, or what is going to be on your new dream future list?
Oh my goodness. I was just talking to my friend about all of that. I was making with her the list of the companies that I want to work. But the thing is that my family and my life and everything is so mixed together. It's just like I work with my kids, and so everything is related. And we were talking about a studio and everything that we wanted to do with the studio. Obviously, this is not the year that we want to do it, but yeah, there are a lot of things in our future, because I come like a McDonald's Happy Meal with my
That's
little
not my
toys.
favorite analogy.
But yeah, to me, like my dream is keep doing what I'm doing with my kids in a big scale, and not only with my kids, but with my photography, because I mean, this year has been absolutely crazy. because I've been home and I was terrified. How am I going to make money? How am I going to do this? How am I going to? And magically, it's been good. It's been good. And you know, I have checked a bunch of things out of my list, and and even work with celebrities that it was not in my list, because it's not like, I mean, it's not that I don't want to work with them, but it wasn't something that I was just going after. So
Right.
I've done all of that during this pandemic. So of course, I want to keep building my photography commercially the way that I have done it with my old clients, but I want to still build these things with my kids, because is what bring me the most joy and what I enjoy the most, because it's something that we do as a family. And I love to see them as involved as they are, and you know, vocal about decisions and and you know, and concepts and everything.
Yes.
So, and I always say, the moment that one of them tell me I don't want to do it anymore, well, they won, because is whatever they want. But right now that we enjoy it so much, I just can't wait to just keep building with them.
Yes. And then they're going to have these amazing physical representations of their childhood, which I
Yeah,
love so, so much. I
yeah.
I hope that eventually, I wish I could see their faces. Like, I know as an adult, there'll be times when my mom will give me something from her keeper box, right? Precious
Mhm.
keeper, although she's got like keeper tubs, but you know, she'll hand me a thing and I look at this drawing or this whatever it is, and I was immediately transported back to that time and that age and that everything. But being able to have these images that they got to make with their mom, like,
Yeah.
that's going to be so special. I wish I could see the looks on their faces as adults, you know, looking back
Yeah.
and being able to see those, like,
And it's not only a picture that I took of them, it's just a concept or an idea that they had that they made it crazy. And I just, okay, here it is, you know, let's do it together. Sit here next to the computer. Where are we going to put this thing? What color do you want me to change this and that? So, and that's what I think that is valuable, because as I say, I know what losing a loved one is, but this is what I'm leaving to them, you know? And it's just, it's not the picture, it's just that the memory of how we created it in the moment of you know, of doing it all together.
right,
So as I say, it's a very personal thing that I love to share with everybody, because as I said, everybody can do whatever you want. I think that Becca was the one that was asking the other day on Facebook, like, how do you, like, asking parents,
right. Yeah,
like,
with
how do
with
you balance
kids.
all of
Yeah,
that? And I was like, well, if you really, and I know that this is not for everybody. There are different, I mean, parents or whatever. There are people that love their solitude while they're working, and sometimes I'm like that. Sometimes I want to
sure.
just, you know, shut the door in my garage and create by myself without being interrupted, and that's completely fine. But if you don't want to wait, and that was my thing, I didn't have the, you know, the option of waiting for them to go to school, because my daughter, when her dad passed away, she was only 1 year old. She couldn't go to school. I couldn't afford daycare. So she was with me, and she will go with me to photo shoots, and I will give her like a toy camera, and then I started giving her like a real camera, and she will take her pictures, and now she directs the models.
Oh,
She is into everything. And that was actually part of the KelbyOne class that we taped here in my house, because I let them do whatever. And I mean, you know, she's gonna be in the middle of everything, telling you how to record the class,
heck yeah.
whatever, because that's what
She's
she
gonna
does.
be a strong woman like her mama.
Yeah, but if you really want them to be part of it, or you know, just get them involved, and it's amazing how much creativity. And
Oh
I
yeah.
sometimes I feel like I'm stealing my kids' creativity. You know, it's just like, because they come out with these ideas, and then I pull it out there and it has my name, and it's like, it should have their name instead of mine, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, whatever you want to do, but I think that you should never feel like you cannot do something with your kids there or something. It's
Right.
just, you have to adapt. To me, it was whatever I had available. I didn't have anything fancy available to me, gear wise or whatever. I made it happen with whatever I had back then. And now I
Yeah.
feel like bad because I, you know, I have like so many lights, and I have access to props, and I have access to theater costumes, and I have access to this, and I'm just like, well, you know, so everything, if you work a little bit for it, it just magical things happen.
Yes. So Dennis would like to know, who are your ideal clients, which kind of opens up, like, first, I love being able to talk to you about just mindset and how you've approached your life and your process and going about making things. I love that. But I know as well, for a lot of people who want to be able to do what you're doing, having a little bit of understanding of like, well, then, like, how do you take this and actually make your living off of it? So I'm going to tie that kind of to Dennis's question, like, who are your ideal clients, but then how do you go about finding work and making enough money to live this life that you've created?
My ideal clients, and the direction that I'm taking right now, my ideal clients are Disney, Universal, Target, you know, big companies like that I can easily create something with my kids, you know. And I pretty much, like, whatever company, like a photography related company that I have worked with, or you know, collaborations or anything that I have worked with, except for those celebrities that have found me, I don't know, from my website, or I still can't believe it. And I cannot talk about it because I signed an NDA until
Then
everything
don't
is
get
released.
yourself in trouble on my show.
Yeah,
Okay?
I know. No, I won't. Are you kidding me? But one of the good things that I learned from losing everything, is that I lost fear, because I've been through so much pain, through so much depression, that I cannot, I mean, and I think that's why I'm very protective of my work and my business, is because nobody knows the tears that I cry. Nobody knows the dark nights that I had. So living through all of that, I lost fear completely. So whatever I want to do, I just find the person that I have to reach out, and I send the email. And, you know, most of the time I get surprised that I get a yes, and rarely I get a no. And I tell that to everybody: you want to do something, freaking find the person, the name, the email, the phone number, and go for it. They say no, okay, wait another year and call back. You know, and that's what I do. And that's pretty much my motto. I'm there, and I make myself visible, and I go network. I love people, and probably because I don't talk to grown-ups a whole lot. So whenever I see grown-ups, I talk and talk and talk and talk.
Yep, like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, and you know, it's just not just shaking hands and you know, giving them your card. Is just building a relationship. And I think that's what mattered to me, that I go to those places and I don't just go to hand somebody my card. I just go there to make a friend.
Right.
And the other thing that you need to understand as a human, as a business person, is that whatever you have, some other people or some other company or other person don't have. So you have to be very clear of what you want, what your value is, and what you can bring back, what kind of value you can bring to that company or to that client or whatever. And you know, talk about it, and you'll be surprised, you know, how you can how you can accomplish so many things. That's what I do with my partners or with whoever I work. I just find what kind of value I can bring to them, and then I
Right.
present it to them. And you know, if they take it, they take it. I'm not the kind of person to, and I think that's part of my grief and all of that. I don't beg. I mean, if you want me, fine. And if I'm working with somebody and somebody finds that I'm not valuable enough or I'm not bringing anything to them, I will like, okay, if that's what you think, you know, let's go separate way in a nice way, you know. But
Sure.
I'm not a beggar, because I feel like I know where I am and I know where I'm going, and I'm not willing to waste time if somebody doesn't see my potential. There is no reason for me just to try to show it, because I don't think that it works that way.
Right. So for people who want to be able, I feel like it definitely requires a certain amount of experience and work to bring yourself to the point where you recognize the value that you bring, right? That's why so many artists have such a hard time charging when they first start, and they don't know what do I charge and how much should I, is there anything that people can do to start to bring themselves up to that point where they recognize their value and they're not kind of like
Yeah, but I'm not
desperately
talking
looking?
about monetary value. I'm talking in I think that I have always treated my business as something so personal that when I talk about value, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking the
Sure.
value of my sweat and tears
Right.
that I have put to be where I am. So I think that you have to work on and it's really hard for us photographers and artists. I think that you have to work on knowing who you are as an artist, what your style, what you can do and what you cannot do, and what are you willing to give away if you need to give away something. And when you are there, then you can, when you have all of that figured out, and I think that is by practice and it doesn't take much. For me, it was like I started taking pictures of my son, then I started taking like different kind of portraits, beauty, motorsports, long exposures, macro, black and white, and all of that. And then I realized that my thing is people, because I love people. And it was okay. I love people, but what is my style and what makes me different, Because everybody has a story, everybody has a style, and and everybody has a goal, and your goals might be, and we're photographer, we're artists, we're out there writing articles and whatever, but your goal might be different than mine, and the direction that you want to go is different from mine. And I think that's the beauty of being in a photography community, is just realizing that we are not competing, because our situations and how we build our business is completely different, and we're going in different ways. So the thing is that you have to value your work for it, make sure that you are in love with you, whatever you're creating, which is hard because sometimes you do something and then the next day you hate it,
This is
and,
true.
and I'm not here to bullshit anybody, because it happens to me and it happens to everybody. And you go on Instagram and you look at pictures and you say, oh shit,
You're like, I give up now.
I suck. And it happens on daily basis to me, and it happens to everybody. But you know what? This is what I can create, and this is what I enjoy creating, and this is my story, and this is mine.
Yes.
And I'm not just gonna stick. I can keep growing, and I can keep learning, and I can keep getting better if I put my heart and soul into it. So I think that's what is important. And making relationships and getting paid for your work is just realizing that you are not worse than anybody, or anybody's better than you. Is that is you, that's your work. You have to love it, even sometimes when you hate it, you have to still love it. And you are not here to bullshit, because to me it's just like the days that I don't like whatever I'm creating and I feel like fed up and overwhelmed. It's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Are you gonna go get a job in an office? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna be whining? Just go to your garage and find a way to make something that you enjoy. And so is we didn't become photographers, we didn't become artists just because your mom or your dad or whatever, whoever told you. No, we did it because we wanted to do it, and we didn't do it for the money or for whatever. No, we did it because we're stubborn and it's something that really makes us happy. So make it happen.
Heck
If you don't
yeah.
make it happen, it's on you, dude. It's on you. It's just waking up every morning, and sometimes I'm just like, I'm freaking stuck. Okay, let me figure out how I can, I can do something just to, you know, level me a little bit, or something that inspire me a little bit, or just go and do a photo shoot on whatever I want that I think that is going to inspire me, or it's going to just kick me out of my bad mood and my pity party. So
Yeah. I've
yeah.
definitely thrown a few pity parties for myself over the years.
Oh, and I
So
do it all the time, but as I say, is to me, everything is a matter of I think, like, if you don't do it, your kids are not gonna eat. You
yeah,
know,
that is some
if
motivation
you
right
are,
there.
I don't allow to do anything because I don't have anybody, a husband or anybody that's gonna bring here. No, I support my kids by myself, and everything that I do is by myself. So I live on the edge that I can allow myself just to, I cannot do this. I suck. I do it. I watch, I go on Behance and I'm just like, you suck so
Behance is
bad.
the worst. It's the
Yeah,
worst.
I'm never going back
Ah.
in here. Yeah, I do it all the time. But at the same time, it's just like, well, are you going to do a pity party, or are you going to find a way to get better?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
My mom always says, because my grandma said that you get your turn on the pity pot and then you have to get off so somebody else can get on. So everybody can gets their turn. There's only one and it must be shared, apparently. So I love that you bring up, this need to make these connections with people and to find who you need and get in front of that person somehow, because I feel like that is such a huge piece of the puzzle that gets left out so many times for photographers who are wanting to move into that space or to level up or to start seeing their career trajectory rise, is that they miss the fact that you're getting hired by people and you need to get in
Thank
front of these
you.
people.
Thank you. And you have to freaking remember that they are people. So treat them like humans. This is a funny thing. I have managed social media and marketing for companies related, and I don't like to say it, and I don't like to do it because I don't like people to know that I'm the people behind, But it just drives me crazy that I get so many messages that are so impersonal. And no, that's not how you network. You might have a beautiful portfolio, but if you don't know how to talk to people and to humans, remember that the person that you want to connect with, that company or whatever, is run by a human. Treat them like you will treat a friend. Treat them as a person. Treat them as your friend. Treat them as somebody that you respect. Not a piggy bank, or not like somebody that is gonna hand you something for free for you to know. No. So I think that you have to learn how to be a people person and how to approach people, and remember that it's a question of values. Whatever what you can bring value to people and they can bring value to you, just meet in the middle, and try to do it in a way that you can build together. And that's my thing. Is just remember that people are human. Those people
Yes.
behind those accounts are humans. That people that you're sending the email to request something for free, or a collaboration, they are humans.
Yep.
So I think that for me, it's just I treat everybody like a friend, and I'm more interested not only on creating a business relationship, but to me is creating a relationship that it will last past business. Even if they go work with another company, I want to still have the connection and I want to still be friends with that person. And I think
Exactly.
that's how we should approach every single business, every single client. All of my clients, they become my friends, they become like, I have their phone numbers, and we just don't talk about photo shoots. We talk
Right.
about our kids, we talk about our job, we talk about our holidays. That's networking, that's making friends, and that's how you build your network.
Yep. Yep. I really, really hope that the people who see this understand how dreadfully important that is, because if you go to try to network and you're hearing this and all you get is networking is the key, you're missing out on a vital component of the fact that if you go into this as a mercenary to go get what you can get from people, you
Mhm.
might make it a couple steps and then you're going to fall off a cliff, because
Yeah.
people will see that and they will
Mhm.
recognize that you're here for yourself. If you're not there to bring value, and not just value to somebody else's business, but to their life as a component,
Yeah.
then it's going to fall apart, and you're not going to stay there, because people will not want to work with you if you are that kind of person.
Yes.
So go be a value. Go be a value.
Exactly.
um so Hannah said, your words have such truth in them and are lighting a fire in me.
Good.
So we have about 7 minutes left, guys. If you have any
Already?
more, I know it goes really fast. Every single time at the end of the interview, like, oh, this is all we've got. And it's like, I can't believe it's already gone that fast.
Wow.
If you guys have more questions for Gilmar, please get those in really quickly so we can get them in before we close. And Chris has asked, do you have a favorite project, or is your latest project your favorite project?
It's always the latest one, and the thing is that when you're creating all the time, it moves so fast that it's just like I think that I enjoy everything. Like I was like in my garage today and I was like, I want to create this, but then I want to jump to the next one. And then I think that my ADHD just got the job. But yeah, I think that my favorite projects, if you put it in plural, is it will always be whatever I do with my kids because it's more personal and it's super fun. But yeah.
Yeah, of course. Um, so as we wait for some of these questions to come in, let's talk a little bit about your next class with KelbyOne that is launching at the end of the week. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that. And then for everybody, all of the links to Gilmar's profile will be in the description as well. So you're going to have to check out and go follow her on Instagram so you can find out when this class launches.
Yeah, well, this is so fun because we have been talking about classes for forever, and then the whole COVID came and all of that. So we decided to go with whatever is going on right now. Like my kids are home, and every single one of my friends have their kids at home, and most of photographers are like, if you're a wedding photographer, you're stuck at home. So let's try to bring that creativity home and make this time just to do some self-portraiture, just take picture with your kids. But what I wanted just to do in this class is just find cheap, easy ways just to transform your space and make it look, because especially now that we have been at home for so long, we get sick and tired of our space. And if somebody tells you, take a picture inside of your house, I'm gonna take picture here, you don't see anything, about your space that is picture worth it. So I wanted just to introduce like a little bit of how you can add color, how you can transform your space and make, your pictures look a little bit more cinematic or more fun or whatever. And obviously including your family. So we had a blast. We had a blast just taping here at home. And then we had a blast just going to the office and taping there the second part.
And
I'm
that
super
should be
excited.
hopefully Thursday or Friday. People
I
should
think
be
it's
able to
gonna
find
be
that.
Thursday or Friday. Obviously, I will be posting all over the place as soon as it's available.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to get your hands on that class with KelbyOne, make sure that you are following Gilmar so that you can figure out when that thing is launching so you can get it and take it and learn how to make your space cool. Also, as we near the end, I always ask everybody the same question, which is, I want to know your why. So why creating as a job? Why create instead of everything else there could potentially be?
I think that I talk about it. I think that to me, it was like in my moment of sadness, I sat down one night and I made a list of the things that made me happy. And where was I the last moment that what I was doing, what I was surrounded and all of that. And at that time, I was in North Carolina, living there for just because I have been in Orlando most of the time, but at the time was in North Carolina. So the place was here in Orlando. What I was doing, I was taking pictures. I was in Disney with my kids, So out of that list, the next day I sold everything, all of my furniture and everything, and I packed whatever I had left with my kids, and we moved down here. And I designed my life with that list, with that little silly list. So photography was on top of that list because it brought me so much joy doing those projects with my kids at the beginning. And every time that I sit in front of the computer on Photoshop, I just feel like in a magical place. And the same thing when I'm planning a photo shoot or when I'm just taking the pictures. So that's my why. I think that the why, our why should be whatever make us feel the best. And we should make the list and just follow through.
I love that. I love that. And I can't even imagine the bravery that it takes just to say, that's it, this is what we're doing, throw everything out and just go. Like that is the leap into the void. I mean, that is that leap of faith that just says, here we go. And I know, I can't imagine how difficult it must have been, but at the same time, it seems like sometimes that leap is the only way to get you.
It was my only way. It was exactly that. And sometimes I just try not to go back like emotionally a whole lot. But sometimes I just go and look at the pictures and see how little my daughter was, and all of that. And I ask myself, how did I do it? Because I remember how I was feeling. And at the same time, having her so little was kind of a blessing because she doesn't remember,
Right.
and it will be harder, even though she asked a lot of questions. But since she was so little, I didn't have time to lay in bed. I had to wake up, change diapers, feed her. I have to get my other son to school. I have to do, so I was always on the go, and never, I don't remember me like just laying in bed for a day. And I remember my mom came for a while and she would tell me, just don't do anything. I was like, if I don't do anything, I lose, because if I get in the bed, I don't know if I will ever be able to get up. And I think that's pretty much what did it for me, just not allowing myself just to fall, because if I thought that if I ever fell once, I wasn't going to be able to get up.
Man. And then, I mean, approaching it that way, and then also with your mindset of really allowing yourself to feel your feelings, to really have that and not to close those
Feel
away.
without collapsing, because collapsing wasn't allowed and it couldn't happen. Yeah.
My goodness. Woman, I just have to say how much I admire and respect you. And I'm so, so grateful that you came on the show. I feel like there was so many beautiful pieces of wisdom that you shared with people, and so many amazing takeaways that hopefully people really pay attention to, because even though we all will go through tragedies in our life, the goal of this show is hopefully to allow those of us who have gone through some of these things to say, hey, take these lessons and take them and use them so you don't have to be where I was to learn the lessons that I learned. And I really hope for our viewers that are still here, and so many of them have been on this show before and have shared their own journeys. And I just want that message to get out there that, yeah, you're going to go through it. And if you do, these people have wisdom for you that help them get through. But also sometimes we can avoid those pit holes if we take the wisdom that we get from the people who have been there and are vulnerable enough and brave enough and generous enough to share those things. So thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really super grateful. So everybody, all of the links for Gilmar's social media and her website and everything else will be down in the description below. Make sure you go follow her on Instagram if you want to find out when that KelbyOne class launches, and just go show her love on all of the stuff because she's absolutely amazing. I hope you guys will be here with me next week because Cheryl Walsh will be here, the amazing underwater photographer, next Tuesday at 7 Mountain Standard Time. And then Emily Teague will be here after that. And also Megan DiPiero will be here, and we're going to get into business and all of the amazing things that she has to share also. So if you guys are finding this content valuable, if you could like, if you could share, if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. My goal is to get wisdom from people like Gilmar out to as many people and artists as I can so that they can benefit from getting to hear these stories. So Dennis said that you are wonderful.
Oh, I love Dennis.
I do too. So grateful. All right, Miss Lady, if there's anything that you would like to say in closing, please do.
Just go make a list. Make a list.
List.
Follow up.
Agreed. It can't hurt. All right, everybody. Once again, thank you, Gilmar, and I will see you all next week.
All right. Bye-bye.